Today we're going to be tying my version of a light Cahill or sulphur parachute. As you can see, the sample we have in the vise right now, it's a deer belly hair parachute post, and the tail is Coq de Leon, which I like to use because of the mottled look. It's a nice, gives it a nice effect to it. I think they are a little bit more effective with a mottled tail. Could be wrong. Your mileage may vary, but this is my version that I like to tie for the northern Michigan streams. It's a size 16. You can go down to an 18. I don't think there are many bugs bigger than a 16, and with Daiichi's hook being just slightly longer, I think it's just about right. So let's get started. I'll go ahead and mash the barb of the hook in the vise first. Secure it in. I'll start my thread right behind the eye of the hook. Trim out the tag. Now the deer hair that I use, this is probably one of the better pieces. It's bristly. There's no fuzz to it. The tips are pointy, which you want. It helps with the flare. So I'll go ahead and trim out a good hunk of deer hair from the hide here. At this point, you want more than not enough. So you can see here, I trimmed out a good amount. I'm going to hold it and clean it. I'm going to twist it, brush out all the fuzzies, and they're floating around here. I don't know if you can see that, but hopefully I don't inhale any. So I'll take a good clump here, put it in my hair stacker, and give it a few good taps. Now at the parachute post, I'm going to have the hair hanging off the front of the hook right here. So I'm going to orient my stacker that way. So I want to hold it just like this. Like I was saying, just like this. So when I pull the hair out, I don't have to keep rotating the hair in my fingers. So I'll pull the bottom away. There's the deer hair. And now I'm holding it in my right hand. Transfer it to my left. And there we go. So I want this to be approximately the length of the shank. That's going to be my tie-in point. That'll give me a nice solid parachute to work with. So I'll transfer that to the front. I'll take one loose wrap around the hair, one medium wrap, and then a tight wrap. That's really going to make that hair flare out. Now, I'm still holding it in my left hand. I want to take wraps rearward, and you can see just how hollow that hair is, because it's going to compress the hair on the hook shank. While holding it in my left hand, I want to sneak my scissors in there and trim that off as close to that thread as possible. Just like that. The next step is to really secure it. I wrap through these butts, and that's going to start a nice transition. So wrap through those butts on the way forward again. Next step is to continue to build the post. Taking my fingers, I pull and stroke all that hair up, and then make some dam wraps. Not dam wraps, but make a dam with my thread. Now if I let go of this, it'll be standing straight up, which is what we want. But I want the front to be as bulky as the butts in the back. The reason for that is to build a nice parachute. So I want to make sure, and I'll just continue to build tapers. This fly is very important to build these tapers for a better fly. So now that we have that, it's about the same in the front and back. I'll start my parachute. Take loose wraps around the base, and I'll continue to wrap up. You can see that hair starting to flare out already. I'm not putting too much tension in at all. This is just basic wraps, and then I pull, and that's when it really flares. And then I'm going to work my way down. You can see we trap this hair right there, and it'll continue to flare out, but we want it a little more gathered right now, so we can work around it. We'll make that re-flare here in a couple more steps. Now, as I said before, I want to use some Coq de Leon, and this is dark barred unconchado, I believe. So I'll take that out. I'll stroke some fibers back. There's about 12 sticking out there. I want to keep the tips aligned, but strip the barbels away. And I have it in my right hand now. If I'm going to make an ear, I'm going to ear a little bit long here with the tail. It can be slightly longer than the length of the shank. So I'm going to make that measurement and tie that in right there. I want to go as far back as the bend of the hook and then wrap forward. Now what I did right there is I ended at the butts of our parachute post. I'm going to trim out Coq de Leon, and I'm going to continue that taper of the body, just like that. The better body we can build, the better this is going to float. Right now, all that's on there is thread, but if I start building a taper with the thread, that means I'm going to have to use less dubbing, which means it floats better. For dubbing, I'm going to use light Cahill colored. You can also use sulphur dubbing, whatever matches your local hatch. And I'm not going to dub a huge body on this. It's light and wispy. I'm going to keep it that way. The tighter the noodle, the better. And I'm going to try to make actually touching wraps. Oops, caught the hook point there. First time that's ever happened. Going to make nice tight wraps, and you know what, catching the parachute post is inevitable. Tight wraps up. You can see we kind of have a funky thing. It's thin here and it's thick there. I'll put a little bit more dubbing on there to help with that transition. Now that parachute post. This is probably the trickiest thing about the post. We'll just bend that back. Just getting everything to lay nice. And I'm not dubbing this very much. As you can see, these noodles are real slender. If it's not right, take the time to make it look right. There we go, it's a little bit better. Okay, so I ended right behind the parachute post. I'm going to take my hackle and clean the stem off. I'm actually going to tie that hackle in on my side of the hook shank with it up vertical. And my thread right now is just hanging down behind the post. I'm going to go under the post and capture that hackle stem so it's vertical right now and make 2 wraps. Then what I do is I take the thread and go around. Well, that wasn't good. Capture it once, twice, and go around the parachute post 3-4 times. Pull, and then down the parachute post, making nice snug wraps, and then finish behind the eye. It looks like we trapped another parachute post fiber. Okay, so with the head, I ended it here. I'm going to go just behind the eye. That's going to be the head. I'm going to put a little bit more dubbing and finish dubbing the head, because I'm going to actually finish the fly around the parachute post. A lot of people don't like to do that. That's pretty much the only way I do parachute posts. So I'm going to dub up to the shoulders of the fly right there. I'll put a little bit more under the post, make things look nice and even and uniform. I'll make cross wraps and then finish around with my thread around the far side of the post and hanging down in front of me. That sets us up for the next step. So now I take the hackle. My first turn is going to be right at the top. First complete turn, second, third, fourth at the base. Now I'm going to hold that real tight in my left hand, and I can tilt this if I need to. I'm going to take my thread that's hanging down and go between the hackle that's turned around the post and the hackle in my left hand. That was once, twice, and then let it hang. Right now that captured the hackle on my end here. I'll turn it over so hopefully you can see it. It captured the hackle on my end. So now all I need to do is take the tips of my scissors, trim that right out. And now all that's left to do is whip finish. And this can be tricky. You can get so used to whip finishing on a horizontal plane that this vertical plane can totally throw you. Once you get used to it, I think it's one of the easiest and gives a clean look. You don't trap a lot of hackle up front. So I'll go under it once, twice, 3 times, and then all I need to do is take that whip finisher and release, just like that. Make sure that knot is seated. Give a good snug tug. Trim out the thread. And you can see I did trap a couple of the hackle fibers over there. That's no big deal. With the tips of my thread, I'll turn it. Trim those out. Trim them out on the far side if you have any. And there you have it. The nice version of a light Cahill sulphur. With a couple modifications. It's a real nice high floating fly as far as the parachute goes, because that's all hollow hair in there. Use floatant though. And one thing I didn't discuss is the orientation of the hackle. It's cup shaped. I like to tie it in with a cup of the hackle facing up. Some people don't like to do that. They invert it. They think it looks like legs of the mayfly on the film, or on the surface of the water, poking through the film. It's your choice. It really doesn't matter. I think it looks better, and this allows the body to get just ever so slightly lower into the film. So there you have it. My version of the Cahill sulphur, size 16. Don't forget to subscribe for some upcoming videos. We're going to have some nymphs and streamers next. We'll be doing probably some different kind of dries later on too. So head over to jnicholflyfishing.com for other videos. Check out my selection of rods, or to book a guide trip, and you can use some of these flies yourself. Thanks for watching.